This is what I want for the jingle on my podcast.
It's going to be called John Bolton's podcast. No, that impossible.
There's no you in Bolton, but I guess that doesn't matter if you're singing it. And I'm a writer. See if you can work that in some way. Basically, just make me sound awesome. Cheers.
Day 10. Creep. I don't know why I said it like that. A found footage film from 2015, which I discovered on Netflix. I say I discovered. Somebody on Reddit recommended it, and I went onto Netflix and watched it. And as previously, I decided that before I reviewed it, I would have a quick look and see what other people have thought of it, just to get a sort of flavour of opinion. And I happened upon a channel on YouTube called Mason is Alone, and this is what he had to say.
I mean, I think we're all pretty much sick of the found footage thing.
I'm not sick of the found footage thing. It's pretty much my favourite thing.
Found footage movies, like, it's a gimmick, but at the same time, these aren't well-told stories, which is the biggest problem. If they were well-told stories, then it would be fine.
I'm inclined to agree, actually, with that. I think found footage films are my favourite kind of horror film at the moment, but a lot of them are crap. The Blair Witch, which I reviewed a couple of days ago, is a case in point. It's just not very good. The story is good, but then the story was good when the Blair Witch Project was made. Because it's the same story.
And this is a very well-told story. There are problems, but this is the best written found footage film, perhaps, of all time.
Is it, though? Is it? Because it depends really on what you're classing as the writing. If you're classing the writing as being the story that happens in the film, no. Because a lot of it's good, but a lot of it's kind of superfluous and actually not very interesting, and actually steers you away from what is really happening. For example, this guy basically lures people to a house, not always his house, I think he rents them under a pseudonym, and then ends up killing them, as best I can discern from what happened. It was late at night. I need to start watching these films in the daytime. And that's fine, but then there's a load of stuff that happens that's really creepy about his character. Like he kind of pretends to bath his child so that his child later on can watch it. And he's kind of sat pretending the kid's in the bath and talking to it and stuff. And it's meant to, and it does look really creepy, and it's quite uncomfortable to watch. And you think, if I was the person sat there videoing this, it would be a bit like, ugh, this is awful. Not looking forward to editing this. But I don't think that leads naturally to what happens at the end. It seems to me like they set up this character to be this kind of creepy, what's happening? And then it just turns into, I've hit him around the back of the head with an axe. And it cheapens it, frankly. And I don't think if you're going to describe the writing of the film as being simply the plotting, then no, because a lot of the things that happen in the film don't lead cohesively to the ending, and therefore you feel like you've been cheated. Second, if you're talking about the writing as in the script, no.
This movie handles the focus issue perfectly. There's never a shot that's out of focus. It felt like a movie in the sense that, sometimes there's like found footagey stuff where stuff is like bouncing around. It's a little frustrating. It still looks like a movie, and it still pays attention to those filmmaking basics. You gotta keep things in focus, kids.
The whole point of found footage films is that they look like somebody filmed it on a normal video camera, the kind of video camera that anybody that you know might realistically own, rather than the cameras that film studios use that cost into the hundreds of thousands, I would imagine. I don't know. To criticise found footage films because they're a bit jumpy and go in and out of focus is ludicrous. I didn't like this new live recording of so-and-so's album. All you can hear in the background is the audience cheering and clapping and singing along. Of course that's what you can hear. It's a live recording. To criticise found footage films for being amateurish is mind-numbingly stupid. Now, to give this guy credit, he does go on from that point to make some quite valid points. But where's the fun in playing them? One of which is that he does say that the camera in this film does actually serve a purpose. There's kind of a reason for it being on, and there's a reason why the person is filming all this footage. I'll accept that. That is a valid criticism of found footage films, is that a lot of the footage you are left wondering, why are you filming this? So it makes a valid point, it's a documentary this person's filming. The reason why he's filming this person doing all these things is because they're making a documentary. That's the reason why the camera's on, and so on. But again, there are plenty of moments in this film where I was literally thinking to myself, why are you filming this? Like, the guy falls asleep. He thinks the guy has nicked his keys for his car so he can't escape, basically. And the guy falls asleep because I think he drugs him. And so while he's asleep, he rummages through his pockets and stuff, tries to find his keys, and the camera's left on filming this. And I was thinking, well, why? Are you going to use this in the documentary? Is there a point at which... Not even a documentary, is it? It's something for his son. Are you going to present the child with the DVD or Blu-ray of this finished film of his father, which includes 15-20 minutes of his dad asleep while you rifle through his pockets? That's a nice memory to have. This is your dad. He turned out to be a psychopath in the end. Look, he stole my car keys so I couldn't escape from this hellhole. Ridiculous. So actually this film is not innocent of that. A criticism which is fairly moo, because I guess you could also argue that the point at which it transpired the guy was a psychopath was probably around about the same time you made the decision not to bother editing this film and presenting it to his son, and actually to abandon the project entirely. I just don't understand why he was filming it, and so it's guilty of all the same things that most fan footage films are guilty of. Creep. It was fine. I've said this again and again and again. It was just fine. It was an hour and a half of my evening, and it was alright. I discovered before I watched it they're making a sequel, and having seen it now I can see where there's room for a sequel. It won't be a sequel, it'll be a remake. They'll basically just rehash the exact same story. I guarantee it. But it was just fine, and to be honest, I'm a bit bored now of films that are just fine. This would be much better if I just watched The Exorcist every night for 31 days.
Come back soon for the next episode of John Bolton's podcast. What horror movie will he be reviewing? Who knows? Who cares?